Oh, bless the day, an angel for a son-in-law, a cherub for a grandson.
Mrs. Bennet was seldom so happy, and never more entirely herself.
Mercy, a draught! Do you mean to raise a hurricane in the nursery?
Her commands had no end.
Pies to the warm room, ribbons to the cool one, do try to think! And apples for Lizzie, purely for health. What a marvel! My nerves have never been so content.
Only Jane and Mr. Bingley could bear it so gently.
Hush, the baby sleeps. Happiness must learn to whisper.
And of course, when joy overflows, one must share it with somebody.
My husband says weather cannot be ordered by post. Still, we shall have the christening in the very best style. Mrs. Phillips must be told of everything at once. My dearest sister, Mrs. Phillips, you cannot imagine, no you can, for you have the kindest heart in Meryton, what a little paradise Netherfield has become. The house is full of people, but even more it is full of happiness. Jane is an angel of patience and clarity, quiet as a morning after rain. And the baby, oh, the baby is perfection. He smells of warm milk and something like fresh bread. I cannot explain it, but it is the best scent in the world, and I should perfume all the rooms with it if I could. I am ready to carry him forever, though of course they cry, "Mamma, let him rest." But how can one rest from one's own delight? Mr. Bingley makes such a face, forgive the word, but nothing else will do, whenever he peeps into the nursery, that I declare, if smiles could light a fire, we should not need a single log all winter. He is so attentive to Jane, so thoughtful, that I have already said 3 times, "This is how a perfect marriage looks," and immediately cried for joy, "My nerves, my dear, my nerves, but today they are the happiest kind." Meanwhile, let me confess, I am putting things in order, as far as my powers go, and you know they are considerable. The young couple are so occupied with each other, and naturally with the child, that they make no objection at all when I say where the cradle is best placed, not under the draught, which shawl is proper for Jane, the warm English one, not that gossamer muslin, and exactly when the drawing-room should be aired, not in the midst of every gust. You should see how neatly I arranged the basket of little necessities, ribbons apart, linens apart, and notes in their own box. I amaze myself with my prudence. Mr. Bennet jokes that we ought to order some fine weather for Sunday, for Mr. Darcy has connections in the very heavens. I asked quite seriously to whom we should write. It is far easier, believe me, to have a clear plan than to laugh at one. But my husband only shrugged. He ruins everything with that one shoulder, and said, "Clouds take no orders by post." So they do take orders some other way. If this is a joke, it is a very ill-timed one when a child's health is at stake. Of Mr. Darcy I will speak separately, for you, like me, love precision. For Mr. Bingley I feel pure delight, like a bell in the garden. For Mr. Darcy, respect. He is different, not Bingley's brightness, not his lightness. I am even a little afraid of him, not because he is harsh, but because there is something important in his silence that I do not perfectly understand. Yet, seeing how Elizabeth shines and how my own heart grows steady when he enters, I can do nothing but bless the match. I may not understand Mr. Darcy. I understand my daughter's happiness, and that is above every subtlety. And since we are on Elizabeth, read me carefully. I do not like to make conjectures, though sometimes they present themselves when one has eyes and a mother's heart. But it seems to me, that Lizzie has a little secret. I know my children, their step, the way they hold a cup, their looks. And Lizzie has a new fondness for apples. All her life she preferred pears and thought apples the dullest of fruits, and now, one slice with tea, then she asks for them baked. Then she goes to look at the harvest, and returns with a rosy apple in her hand and the air of having proved a philosophical point. Is that not a sign? Tell me honestly, how could one miss it? I did not, because I am her mother, And if it is true, then a second pair of booties is already underway. Well, not a pair, one only, not to tempt fate. White with a narrow blue ribbon, very proper. The servants whisper that I am overzealous. I reply that anticipation is a virtue when it concerns family happiness. Let ribbons be ready, lullabies too, and my triumph, when Lady Catherine, oh Lady Catherine, learns how admirably the Bennets and their kin are prospering. Naturally, I do not forget to keep order. One must not lean on Joy alone. Joy likes good housekeeping. I have ordered the nursery shutters to be closed half an hour before sunset, that the air may be soft and sleep even, instructed the kitchen to keep apple puree always at hand, since we are so fond of apples, arranged visits so that callers do not sit till Jane is tired, and begged the maids especially not to clatter in the corridor. There are infants who hear everything with the ears of future geniuses. They hint that I badger the staff, yet how else when health and propriety are concerned? I have always said, better a little zeal than a heap of regrets. Now one more point about dear Mr. Darcy, only between ourselves. He treats me without a grain of condescension. Believe me, I value it. He listens, quietly, but very politely, which means he does listen, and if I say, it seems to me better so, everything soon is better so. A remarkable man. The fewer his words, the more his deeds. Still, he frightens me a little, exactly as the tall clock in the parlour does. Its ticking is excellent, only one never knows when it will strike. Let me be a little afraid. I am twice as glad for Lizzie, for her happiness is like a sunspot on the nursery floor, and who does not love a sunspot? As for the weather, you should have seen how decisively I forbade opening the window in a gale. And Mr. Bennet, again with his order a clear sky. I assure you, I would write wherever one writes, if I knew the address. If Mr. Darcy is as influential as my husband insists, though I suspect he only wished to divert me, why should we not apply? But to laugh at serious matters is a poor habit, and I have no habits but useful ones. Pray tell Mrs. Gould that the baking thrives. The little pies vanish faster than I can seat the visitors, and in a house with a baby, sweets are the best peacemakers. If you would send that ribbon, you remember, from the Meryton shop, blue with speckles, I should be delighted. It will go upon a cap, guess whose. I have also put by a little better tea for your visit. When you come, and you shall come, we shall hold a true council of mothers. Write soon, my dearest sister, and tell me whether you too think that happiness can be heard. It sounds like hush, the baby sleeps, and quiet laughter in the next room, and the soft rustle of a paper letter. As for me, I am so happy that even my nerves offer thanks, which is the most agreeable change. Your 1,000 times loving sister F. Bennet. Postscriptum. If you meet Mrs. Hill, tell her I beg the best pattern for a second booty, and do not forget the ribbon.
If this light-hearted letter from the world of Pride and Prejudice felt true to you, stay with us. On the channel, you'll find more first-person retellings, gentle analysis, and original in-universe what-if letters that continue beloved books. Subscribe and visit the full Love Stories playlist. The Learner Glossary is, as always, in the pinned comment.